Is starting your own online sportswear brand in 2024 even profitable? I've heard from so-and-so that the profit margins are horrible. There's so much competition. Shadi, is this true? If you go in with no strategy, with no USP, with no proper understanding of profit margins, then yes, the sportswear industry will eat you alive and it will spit you back out as a non-profitable business and you will struggle. But if you follow these key strategies that I personally garnered from my last 7 years of experience working with thousands and thousands of brands, I've seen recurring techniques and strategies in the brands that succeed, and I've seen time and time again the mistakes that the beginner brands, whether they come into a lucrative niche or they don't know what they're doing, the mistakes that they make are consistent. So on this episode, take my advice and grab my experience with number one. If you want to create a profitable sportswear business, you need to start off with a strong USP. Why do you need a USP? USP is a unique selling point or a set of unique selling points. The sportswear business is often seen as a very lucrative business, but one that is extremely saturated. And in any business that is saturated, you have a lot of players coming in because there's a massive opportunity, but there is a lot of competition for the existing customers in that market. As a business, you must ask yourself, how do I stand out from the competition? How do I create something that no one else has done? And by virtue of asking those questions, you're actually inching one step closer to the idea of a USP. So to solve the issue of oversaturation, one must create a unique selling proposition. And there's three main things that we need to do in order to create a unique selling proposition. Number one, we want to actually understand the market and we need to leverage gaps in the market. A gap in the market is a specific need and a want from a consumer base that is not being met by existing players or is not being met at a large scale by existing players. ASRV has come in and they only target the male niche and they create very high-end premium technical clothing with a strong understanding of the performance athlete. That's who they cater to. They realized that a lot of brands were going in and predominantly they were catering towards the female demographic because that typically tends to be a much more lucrative market. And they asked themselves, why can't we create a similar technique, but why can't we focus on the male demographic? Sure, it may be more difficult, but it is in that difficulty that you have a market gap that you can tap into. Second, you need to actually leverage your own personal strengths. Every single entrepreneur has a background, whether it's from their upbringing, whether it's from their schooling, whether it's from their job, that gives them a unique outlook in order to create something that no one else can create. If you look at the brand Alphalete, Alphalete was founded by the extremely well-known influencer Christian Guzman, who started on YouTube vlogging and sharing his day-to-day life. At the time, his unique personality, his brand, his idea of what he wanted to bring out into the fitness niche was his strength. And he launched Alphalete off of the backs of that strength, off of the back of his audience, of the people that supported him. This was something that the Gymshark founders couldn't do. They took their background and their understanding of marketing and the background that they had trying to set up sports supplement websites and understanding marketing and customer acquisition, and they used what was emerging at the time, which was influencer marketing, to catapult their success. So each of these different entrepreneurs leveraged what they knew best. Christian used his personal appeal and his personal brand in order to launch the business, and then with the Gymshark founders, they used their understanding of marketing and the idea of reaching many eyeballs and the emerging success of influencer marketing at the time in order to skyrocket their sales. Number three is you need to have a customer-centric approach as someone who's trying to craft a USP. He who does not listen to his customers, someone who is lacking valuable insight into what the market desperately wants. And if you are in a unique position where you might have actual people that are giving you feedback on your products, they're telling you, hey, listen, maybe we need this, maybe you're missing this, maybe this product would look better with this. This is customers literally telling you what they want from you, and they're telling you that we are willing to vote with our dollars. So spend some time, conduct surveys, get on focus groups, go onto Instagram, try to understand what your customers want, ask them targeted questions. There's a variety of different tools, whether it's a formal survey through SurveyMonkey or it's a live chat that you have. Knowing how to ask your customers specific questions on what do you think is missing in the market? What product did you like most from our previous launch? What do you think our competition could do better? All of these give you unique insights that you can use to craft your USPs and to stand out in a saturated market, thereby eliminating number one, which is the market is saturated. Number two, you will be profitable if you understand this one thing. If you understand what your cost of goods sold is and you understand how to maintain healthy profit margins. Your cost of goods sold are typically divided into two key categories: your direct costs and your indirect costs. Your direct costs are the costs that go directly into creating and crafting your product. These are your unit costs. These are your shipping costs. These are your material costs, your stitching costs, your fabric costs, your labor costs, everything that actually goes directly into the creation of the product. Most entrepreneurs will stop there. They may get a quote from a factory that says, this t-shirt is $12 FOB. and they consider that to be their cost. What the proper profitable entrepreneur does is they calculate their direct costs and their indirect costs. Your indirect costs are a lot more difficult to quantify because they require proper tracking. You need to know what is your rent if you are a business and you operate rent and you have staff and you have admin costs. All of these create and generate an indirect cost to the actual sale of the product. You need to look at the quantity of products that you're doing on a month-to-month basis, calculate all of your indirect costs and divide that by the quantity associated with it. You should also look at your marketing costs. You should look at any direct or indirect tariffs that you're paying. When you're able to take your direct costs and your indirect costs and you're able to calculate what the cost of goods sold is for each of your products, from there, you're able to establish your profit margin, which should be around 50%. Let's just say that your t-shirt costs you all in $20 with your direct costs and your indirect costs. You should be selling it for no less than $40 to $45 as a direct to consumer business. This is essential. Bear in mind, minimum 2x cost on your total cost of goods sold. Number 3 is you actually want to design high margin items. High margin items are items that allow customers to buy into the brand and are attractive, that provide a ton of value to customers, but also by virtue of how you organize your production process, of how you source your fabrics, of how you source your trims, you can get a great deal on these products. What are some examples of high margin items and how do they slot into your collection? A high margin item might be a very high quality windbreaker that has a multi-purpose tool set. Maybe it has detachable sleeves. Maybe it has a reversible inliner. Maybe it has some unique detailing that really makes it stand out, that makes it a product that is worth having as a flagship piece. These are high margin items. The car industry has time and time again trended towards larger SUV vehicles because simply those products allow manufacturers to charge a lot more in relationship to their cost of goods sold in terms of what they can bring in as revenue. Those manufacturers, whether it's Audi, whether it's BMW, whether it's Mercedes, have brought in more and more SUVs into their line as those products have proven to have higher profit margins. The same can be true for you. If you look at some of the biggest brands out there, there's a reason that Lululemon can take a legging and they can make 7 to 10 different variations of it and charge $80 to $90. It's because it is a very profitable product to have. They invest into the USPs of the product. They invest into the fabric. They invest into the marketing. They really make the product very attractive to the end user, but they charge a premium for it because they know the market is willing to pay, because they have proven data that says customers are always willing to pay for products that fulfill X, Y, Z. Number 4 is you need to be on point with your marketing. I've said this time and time again. Marketing is no longer an option. With a highly saturated market, you need to understand how to reach your end consumer. You also need to understand how to reach your end consumer in a profitable and an effective way. You need to know, what does it cost me to get in front of a consumer? What is the price to actually approach a customer? And then what is the cost to convert that customer? So we call this the customer acquisition cost. Knowing your customer acquisition cost allows you to scale your business. Make sure you have a varied marketing strategy that gives you all of the parts of the funnel of your marketing that you'll need. So number 1, definitely when you launch, you need to have some way to create a launch promotion, whether that's a direct discount or whether that's an incentive to get customers to sign up for an SMS or an early bird or a pre-order. You need to have some sort of campaign that gets customers when the hype is highest. Well-known brands will sometimes launch early bird discounts, or they'll have an application version of their business, whether it's ASRV or SuperX does this, for example. You can only get these brand new products and you can only access these pre-sales on their apps. So they get you to go and to download their application. That way you can get access to a product that they tell you is about to sell out. This creates a sense of urgency, a sense of scarcity, and it allows you as a business to sell your products sometimes even before you have them in stock. Launching products with discounts right off the bat is something that is counterintuitive. But what you need to do is you need to create a sense of scarcity. You need to let people to know this product is here for a limited time. Get on the program. Buy it while you can. Number 2 is loyalty programs. If you look at some of the best brands out there, they always know how to incentivize repeat purchases. There's a very well-known brand called Melon that is in the headwear space. Melon has a very well-crafted loyalty program that allows and incentivizes customers to make repeat purchases by giving them credit on their products. This gives people more of a reason to actually say, I like this brand, and you as a person might like this brand as well. It gives people the incentive to go out and to refer a friend. And it gives that friend a incentive to make a first purchase, because with Melon, when you incentivize a friend, you refer them, not only do you get a credit, but they get a credit as as well. This is the benefit and the add value of loyalty programs. Not only does it keep one customer loyal, but it makes that customer much more ready to go out and to spread the good word about your brand. Number 3 is influencer collaborations. You might say, Shadi, influencer collaborations are overrated. They're very expensive. I don't have the right people in my space. This comes down to you as an entrepreneur knowing how to select the right influencer and the right collaboration partner for your brand. Also, knowing how to structure a marketing campaign with said influencer is just as effective. It's not like running Facebook ads. With running Facebook ads, it's simple. You go on the Meta dashboard, you create your ad, and you run it, and then you monitor it. With a influencer campaign, knowing how to set up a contract, knowing how to set up the right deliverables, knowing how to monitor and manage that campaign, you can hire a third-party company to do this for you. But if you're, as a startup brand starting off, you want to know what the right type of influencer is that you want to actually collaborate with, you need to know how to set up the campaign. You need to be very direct and decisive about what you expect from this engagement, because anything less than that is going to leave that influencer not knowing what to do and leave them feeling frustrated and leave you feeling frustrated because you have no way to quantify how your dollars that you're spending are actually bringing a return. Last but not least is content marketing, or what I call as organic content marketing. Organic content marketing is your media channel. It's the way for you to say what your brand is about, what your story is, and to just bring out a version of your brand to the world in a much more relaxed way. Consider the FittDesign YouTube channel as part of that. It's a way for us to educate people, to entertain people, to connect with an audience in a much more direct and less formal way than it might be in a one-to-one meeting. There's no direct requirement here for you to purchase anything from FittDesign. What it is a simple say that I have something to say and I feel that I could provide value to the world. You as a brand can provide value in many different ways. You can either educate, you can either entertain, or you can either just connect with your audience. Knowing what types of content you want to create and what you want to achieve with your content allows you to achieve those goals. So make sure you're available on the platforms that you know your customers are going to be on. So if you're a more upbeat or a younger generation brand, then perhaps having a presence on TikTok will be much more effective than having long form videos on YouTube. Knowing what and where your audience is being is going to allow you to create a set of content that engages and finds the right audience no matter where they are. Last but not least is you need to have comprehensive budgeting strategies. Any business can only survive for as long as the income exceeds the cost that is leaving the business. In order to properly track that, as a startup brand, it can be quite difficult because in the beginning, you're investing. Sometimes you're even putting your own money. It's not like you have a separate pile of cash. A lot of entrepreneurs actually spend from their own accounts. The first thing that I would recommend is, as a startup business, create a separate corporate bank account that you can inject cash into. That way you know what source of funds you are drawing from. That's number 1. Number 2, you need to have comprehensive budgeting. Keep track of all of your expenses. Whether you use a third-party app or you use something like Excel or Numbers, make sure that you're tracking all of your expenses and all of your income on a month-to-month basis. Categorize your expenses by admin, by product, by marketing, by HR. Make sure that you know which proportion of your expenses is costing you the most and where you can drive your costs down and where you can invest your cash into more lucrative parts of your business. Budgeting is something that a lot of business entrepreneurs look at as a secondary part of their business. When I grow to a specific type of business, then I can afford to bring in an accountant, or I can afford to bring in a financial controller in order to help me with my budgeting. You won't get to that position if you don't have a understanding of what your business is costing you to operate on a month-to-month basis. Also, you need to calculate your break-even point. At what point every month or every quarter, what revenue do I need to achieve in order to overcome my costs so that I'm in the green? Most businesses just track their revenue. They don't track their costs and they don't understand their break-even point. They don't know what targets and what goals they have because they haven't set those goals. As a business, you need to have goals. You need to have incentives to get to where you want to go. Number 3, you need to have strong inventory control. So inventory control or merchandising is understanding what sizes of products you need to order, what types of products you need to order, and what colorways of those products you need to order, and understanding when you need to order them, and you need to understand when you need to restock them. The cardinal sin in any business is not ordering enough product when that product is in high demand. And also, the second sin is when you over order and you end up with way too much inventory that you can never sell off. Believe it or not, many large businesses cannot stock their best sellers enough because they just simply don't understand and cannot quantify where the demand is going over time. Make sure that you know what products are in high demand. Monitor your data. See what sizes are selling. Look at what the market is saying. Look at what colorways are the most profitable. Look at what colorways are the most in demand. Look at which colors are actually selling the least. Purchase the right products. Number three actually is also going to be manage your supplier relationships effectively. In this business and in any business, your human connection goes a long way. Someone is going to be a lot more willing to provide financial incentive and financial leeway to you if they like you as a person and as a business. So take a moment, take the time to build good quality relationships with the people that you're working with the suppliers that are actually driving your business forward. Believe me when I say that I've focused on building strong relationships with suppliers and being loyal to them, even though their prices may not always be the cheapest. But I know that when push comes to shove, if I need some sort of financial backing, if I need some credit terms, if I need some sort of net payment terms, that this supplier, because I've proven my loyalty to them over the last 5 years, 10 years, will be willing to give me those much more flexible payment terms, and that relationship will be able to go a lot further than if I was just jumping from supplier to supplier looking for the next cheapest option. Last but not least is potentially look at automating parts of the process of your business that you can automate. As a small business, personally, there's a lot of day-to-day administrative tasks that I personally no longer do myself. I used to do them at one point, but at the time that I could automate them, I started to automate them, because you might look at creating that email draft or setting up that Google Meets link or organizing that project management app. But believe me when I say that those 5 minutes, those 10 minutes, they stack up. It also creates mental effort to get into a part of your business that distracts you from the main thing, which is making your business profitable and making it a high quality business. Automate what you can. Use automation tools like Zapier. That's what we use here at FittDesign. That allows you to automate small parts of the business. That allows you to integrate strong applications like ChatGPT to be able to use AI to figure out how to respond to a specific email, or to create a draft of a specific email, or where to categorize a specific folder. Automation apps allow you to regain your mental clarity and your energy on a day-to-day basis to allow you to focus on what your business needs, which is high quality products, an engaged customer base, and profitable business. So guys, that has been my key tips on how to run a profitable business in the sportswear space in 2024. Following these 5 key steps, believe me, if you do it correctly, is a surefire way to actually stay in the green, to create products that your customers love, and to actually make a profit year on year so you can continue to grow. We all know that the sportswear business is a cash intensive business. So why not give yourself the best possible chance to actually make it work? If you guys want my personal opinion and want my personal guidance on how you can implement some of these strategies, or how we can look at some strategies that I may not have discussed in this episode, you can check the link in the description. I offer one-on-one consultation calls every single week with limited slots, and I would be more than happy to analyze your business and to give you actionable steps on what you can do to get more profitable today. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really does help us out. It keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. And I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of FittDesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.